So according to this email I've got here, the biggest trends this year at NAB were AI, cloud visualization, stuff like that. But for me, the top trend was definitely hats. So guys, you've seen the title. I went to NAB this year and it was a lot. A lot of walking, a lot of talking, a lot of gear, and at the end of the day, a lot of fun. So join me in this video where I talk about some of the coolest gear and moments from NAB 2025 from a first timer's point of view, as well as really just talking about what it's really like to go, because before I went, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. Like it or not, this is peak male performance.
Peak male performance.
By the way, if you enjoy this video or just want to help out, please consider liking, subscribing, all of that. This trip was not free or paid for or cheap in any way, so any extra support would be so much appreciated. Anyway, I've been doing YouTube for a while now, but I was pretty nervous to go to the show. I really just wanted to make sure I took the best advantage of the time I was there. So as my plane took off from Chicago, I made a list of the people I know that I wanted to see, people I didn't know but really would want to, and of course I'm thinking of all the fellow content creators I know that may be attending as well. A few hours later, Leah and I landed in Vegas, and that's where it all began. Walking into the halls there is genuinely awesome, but definitely a bit overwhelming. I heard this was a slow year and it was still crazy. There was just so many companies, so many items, I barely knew where to start. Thankfully, the Lumix booth was like right at the entrance, so stopped there, chatted with Sean a little bit, and after that passed a ton of gear that was way out of my league, but you know, eventually I was able to reset my mind with a quick round of mini golf at the Matthews booth.
That's okay, good try.
Grabbed a quick snack in the lobby and got our luggage up to our room, and then the first big moment of the trip happened. You know me. Nice to meet you, man.
Good to meet you, finally.
I found you.
Hi.
The Lumix gang was united. We continued on, saw a robot who will eventually take my job later, and stopped at the Laowa and SIRUI booth. I still don't know how to say it. Once they reach out and work with me, I'll learn how to say their name then, not before. So Matthew and I took the liberty of trying out the new 85mm they make for L-mount and had a good time testing it out briefly. Fingers crossed they send me out one to test to let me know if that's something you'd want me to see. But again, more people in the L-mount is always going to be a good thing, so I guess welcome you guys, however your company's name is pronounced. After a bit, we split from the Lumix gang. After a quick stop to Nanlight and friends of the channel, Jiyun, I went by and saw my buddy Lenny working in a booth, and eventually made our way to Hollyland, which I definitely want to end up working with eventually. They've got a really cool new wireless microphone set coming up. A lot of upgrades, and the biggest thing I think that they were talking about was some kind of way to monitor with wireless headphones. I think that for me, doing weddings and events might be one of the coolest things that I saw from the audio world there, but there was obviously a ton of stuff. This was actually where I ended up meeting Coffee here, who I recently discovered, and I know I'm behind the times. I ended up crashing Brandon Washington's live stream, and of course had to let him know that the Lumix S9 gang will always be there and ready to represent.
Oh, wait a minute. You got an S9 and I just shook your hand? Give me that PS6 back.
What do you mean? What you mean? What do you mean?
They are vicious. Oh my gosh, he's calling to the homie.
Lee and I went out for a quick night on the town and then to bed to do it all over again. Started out this day with the obligatory visit to the Lumix booth, and you know I wasn't about to go to NAB without getting hands-on with the S1R Mark II, and man, it feels good in the hand. I love the screen, I love the shutter. I really hope I can show this camera off to you guys soon. And saw someone covering NAB on a Super 8mm camera. Nice. I also think this is when I ended up meeting Gerald Undone that day, so that was definitely an interesting start. I went to the Blazar booth next and was immediately enchanted with some of their new stuff, but I will return here later, so don't go anywhere. I wandered around a bunch, but my final goal for day 2 was to find the OBSbot people and say hi. definitely planning on reviewing their stuff. They've been talking to me for a while. They have these, really cool automatic tracking cameras whose quality and specs are actually quite good, and the gesture controls, it's all really cool. Check it out video when it comes out, and with their little virtual set and some of these gestures and trying to trick the tracking by having another bald white man. It got me again.
That's so cool.
Help! He won't wait, what do you think it'll do? This confused?
Oh,
It still got me.
yeah.
Bald guy. I don't know how it knows.
It was able to track you, so yeah.
But it, for the most part, remembered it was me. So thanks to those guys for putting up with me being an absolute fool and just constantly trying to trick and outrun their cameras. And while I was having fun and as cool as everything was, I definitely was kind of doubting myself a little bit. Have I been making the most out of this trip like I wanted to? Was all the plane trips and hotel stays and steps taken been worth it? Would you come back? I guess that's what I gotta figure out, What'd we learn? How did it go? And are we coming back? I don't know yet, but...
End of day 2.
Yeah. I didn't have much time to think about it because I heard a little bird tell me the Amaranth Creators event was happening at a nearby In-N-Out Burger, and I had to see what was going on there. It was obviously insanely busy, but this is the time of the week where I met the most creators, like some more Lumix gang. Pav, you guys probably know him. Touch base again with Brandon and Terrell. This guy Paul I just met, who's similar up and coming YouTube status like me. Creators big and small, everyone was just super cool, and In-N-Out was as good as ever. Yeah, it's one of the best out there. So that was a really cool day. And of course, later on there was this other networking event. I think B&H ran it, which ran into some more great people. So that was a great night, even if we did maybe stay up a little too late. I didn't record as much on this day, but the theme of the day here started with lenses, especially anamorphics. I went by the SIRUI booth again, stole some lens. So I'm always stealing lenses from those guys, but they just let me. Those SIRUI lenses, I would love to try the anamorphic versions as well. And they have an anamorphic autofocus version, I think, coming soon as well. But here's the time where I really dived deep into the Blazar booth, where they have not only their little flippy lens, but also the new Blazar Mantis lenses, which have a very unique property. And they also come in L mount, which is kind of shocking because so many companies just don't do L mount. They also happen to be a 1.33x lens, which isn't exactly exciting until you realize they're supposed to have the look of a 2x anamorphic. So with the look of a 2x without all the trials and tribulations of a 2x, and especially if you own a camera that doesn't do open gate like most of them out there. I don't know why they can't, but Lumix supremacy over here. Lumix gang takes another W. But again, even with a Lumix camera, I think there are a ton of advantages to having that 2x look with a 133 squeeze. And if I ever get a hold of those lenses, I would love to talk about that a little bit more. So I'm gonna say a quick prayer to Cam Mackey or whoever to get a copy of those lenses. I'll just take one lens and I'm good. Anyway, a quick lunch with my boo and we were back at it. So 7 Artisans was the next mark, and they are definitely making some waves in the L mount. Those have been announced now, so I can talk about them. I actually already have their 50mm 1.84 L mount, but I really doubt they are stopping there. By the way, subscribe to see that review coming very soon. The autofocus lenses were definitely cool, and I managed to play with some of their manual focus stuff too, and got a new profile picture out of it. What do you guys think? Anyway, there were so many tasty M-mount Cine lenses and some teases for some upcoming tiny autofocus lenses that are gonna be amazing for the S9, and I cannot wait for them to send them out to me. I think these are going to be hugely successful lenses for 7 Artisans. So they're not in the L mount alliance officially. I don't know what that exactly is gonna take, but they're still out there and they're still making some pretty great lenses. And of course there's a few more stops, went by PD Movie and got distracted with this 3D glasses sort of thing. I stopped by the smaller booth a few times. They had me do an impromptu review on a V-mount battery, which I hope I get to do a full review on soon, as well as a ton of other stuff they got. Got a few sneak previews of things they have coming up soon, and right as I was about to leave, I popped up on the screen that they had there, which was kind of a trippy moment. So I actually got recognized by a guy there. Shout out to Jose. It's good meeting you, man. And it was cool to just, you know, this is the first time I've ever been recognized from the channel in person. And, you know, being up on the screen, being recognized, the workers recognizing me and coming and talking to me and, you know, asking me to take some stuff. And that was just a really unique experience for sure. And I don't know if I would say the highlight of the trip, but one of the highlights of the trip for sure. And stop by GVM, who I've reviewed on the channel as well, for some truly innovative lights, including these really massive panel lights that you can combine together. They are really thinking out of the box, especially with this light that you can like zip up, which, have you ever seen a light that could zip before? Yeah, me either. And the final day is the shorter day. I had to check out and do a lot of stuff, but I stopped by, saw the Fuji Eterna mock-up, saw some Blackmagic stuff, and of course Blackmagic had a huge year. They had some of the biggest exhibit at the entire event. Yeah, I don't have that much to report, and honestly, what could I say that others haven't already? And a newer company to me, who you guys might have seen recently on Geeky Nerdy Techies channel. Recently, they're coming out with some really unique options for E, but also L mount, and I think they're starting with a 50mm, maybe an 85mm. Those are the two lenses I think they were kind of mentioning to me, but they're not a 1.8, they're not a 1.4, they're 1.2 lenses. So once again, these are not official L mount partners, but they are making L mount lenses, and from what I could tell, the 7 Artisans and these guys were making some really decent lenses. I think these were called Songra lenses. So I really hope I can get a hold of one of those to test out. And it's going to be around, you know, $900, $1,000 for a 50mm 1.2 or an 85mm 1.2, and hopefully we get a 35mm in the future. I doubt this is going to perform as well as like a first party lens, but if you have like that Lumix 50mm 1.4 and just never got the full set you wanted, then maybe this would be a good option. So only time will tell if it performs up to the levels that you would need for photos and videos. But yeah, again, I'm really hoping that I can use those lenses at some point. So again, a lot of new additions to the L mount alliance and surrounding third-party L mount lenses for Sigma, Lumix, and Blackmagic camera users out there. And that was pretty much it. I mean, I saw a ton of boosts that, you know, probably wouldn't be worth it for a video or I didn't have B-roll of, but, you know, I packed up, got another taco, Bloody Mary, uploaded some S9 pics for a quick post, and returned to the airport to come back to the Windy City, where I live, Chicago. And so back to the original question, did I make the most of my time? Well, I think at the end of the day, NAB really did end up being worth it for me, I think. I mean, the people I talked to, both running and visiting the booths, were also generous, nice, and especially being able to go with Leah, my fiance, just made everything I did at NAB, or otherwise in life in general, just a huge blast. These companies are really making some great stuff, and important to me, making a ton of really great gear for everyone. Low, middle budget, people like me who don't shoot huge productions or Hollywood movies or things like that, and especially L mount users. We're finally getting companies, whether it's manual or autofocus, jumping into the L mount, making these cinema anamorphic lenses. Even those Blazar Mantises are coming in L mount, you know, so there's a lot of amazing options coming and a lot of support for those Panasonic and Blackmagic users. And for those companies supporting those groups and those systems, I really hope I can work with most or all of the companies and people I was able to meet over this fun, stressful, interesting, and absolutely exhausting couple of days. And you know, the creators there, that whether they had 5,000 or 500,000 subs, they were all super chill, super down to earth. And you know, by day 2, I got over this shy streak that I had. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it turns out the real NAB was the friends we made along the way. Oh, and the hats were obviously super cool too. So friends and hats, if nothing else. So anyway, please tell me down below which gear in the video you saw that you are most excited from camera, lens, whatever, audio, lighting, whether it was on this video or from the coverage that's been out there, or if you went yourself. If you did go, why didn't you say hi? But I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you for watching this video. I knew I wanted to make some kind of content for it, but I didn't know what that was gonna look like. So here it is. What'd you think? Let me know. And yeah, as always, if you just subscribed or have been subscribed, I really, truly do appreciate it. And I will see you when I see you.